Good evening, dear viewers. Uh, I thank God who has permitted me to talk to you once again. Last Tuesday, we were talking about the importance of self-esteem in a marriage relationship. We saw that it's important for this lady to understand her spouse, to know why he behaves the way he does. It will help her to know how to relate to him. So is the husband. We all grow up from different backgrounds and we are affected differently. That causes us to behave differently. But to get to learn one another in a marriage relationship is very important. To open up to each other is very important. Let your spouse know what you went through, and she will know why you behave the way you do. We said, when your mate is feeling confident of himself, he will feel secure, he will feel relaxed. You will see he doesn't have moments where he's, coils to himself and, as it were, enters a cocoon, so that, leaves you wondering what could be happening. But he's open when he's, whatever he has gone through, maybe at the place of work, he freely shares with you whatever whatever has happened to him, whatever he wants to do, he feels confident to share with you. He's relaxed in his behavior. But when the emotions of failure prevail, he will be full of self-condemnation. When he fails, probably in an investment, he will wonder why he failed. Maybe he fails to achieve something. Maybe he's going back for adult education, and he really comes up with so many retakes. He feels so inadequate and so crushed. Feelings of tension, fear, and insecurity can control the way he thinks about himself and his life. It's important to know what causes these feelings in your mate. Every lady should have this knowledge. Every lady, every taught child of God should seek to understand their spouse if they are to have peace in that home. Some people are so steady that they never see them, that you never see them vacillate between confidence and insecurity. You cannot tell when they are feeling insecure or when they are feeling confident. They have learned to hide their feelings. The temptation is that he does not experience those negative attitudes. You may think that he does not experience those negative feelings, so you take him for granted. You think there are no times when he feels insecure, when he fears, when he's anxious, and when he's, discouraged. You think he's always, a very strong, powerful individual. He's perfect for him. He has no such fears governing him on the inside. But that is a lie. Some people learn early in life to compensate for feelings of inadequacy. They learn quite early how to compensate for feelings of inadequacy by covering them up with the appearance that all is well. Whatever he's going through, when you say, how are you doing? How is that end? Everything is fine. All is well. There's no problem. All is fine. But they have just learned to cover up. Inside, he may have become accustomed to self-condemnation, but he never lets you know how he truly feels. That's why you can live in the house and you are strangers to each other. Nobody gets to know, the inner self of the individual. Afraid of rejection of others, he conceals that feeling to himself because he fears to be rejected. Because he doesn't know how you will react to it, he prefers to hide it from you. Outwardly, his performance may be flawless. Seemingly there is no mistake, as though he has no needs. But that is a false image. Inwardly, however, his secret inner desire is to have you accept and appreciate him as he is. Way deep down, he wants you as his wife, as his spouse, to accept him for what he is, not what he should be. Are you able to accept him and respect him, even when you get to know that he is a very fearful man? He fears to launch out. He fears to fail. He fears to attempt new tasks. He's not that, forward, bold person. He tends to coil inwards. If there's some noise going on outside in the night, he would rather have the wife check, but not himself going out. Is that the time for you to belittle him? Is that the time for you to have no confidence in him, to reject him? No, ma'am. There's something better you can do. It's important that a wife accepts a husband and appreciates him as he is. Whatever he is he your husband? Accept him as he is. You are not going to change a thing, ma'am. You cannot make him over. However much you try to criticize that conduct in him, it's not going to change anything. If anything, you are going to make him worse. He's going to show you that he's a man and you're a woman. And the more he shows you that, the more bitter you will become. And the relationship will not be what it should be. His real need is to be built up. He needs to be built up. He needs somebody to build him up. He needs somebody to encourage him. He needs somebody to appreciate him. He needs somebody to accept him and to know that he is important. He needs somebody to have confidence in him that he is able to lead and to lead the family in the right direction. So when he comes up with a decision to buy that piece of land, to invest in that business, when you say, I don't think it really can, that becomes a discouraging factor. So his real need is to be built up and to be loved for who he is. He wants to be loved for who he is. Can you see something good about him? Forget all about those weaknesses. Is there anything you can appreciate in him? Please build on his strong points and overlook those weaknesses. Accept him at face value. Even when he is not as he should be, accept him at face value. This is what he is, we shall go with that. This is what he is. We are happy he is what he is. No one is perfect all the time in everything they do. Many times there are so many flaws. But wouldn't you appreciate a spouse that bears up with you even when there are flaws in your life? Let's build one another. A wise woman builds her house. A wise woman builds her husband. A wise woman appreciates her husband. A wise woman is confident, will build confidence in the life of her spouse. Don't you want children to find a father who is confident and relaxed in his home? Would you like to raise up children with a fearful father, a father who is so discouraged in everything he's doing, a father that is, that has such a low self-esteem? Then do better. What he thinks about himself and how he feels about himself, his self-image always hangs in his mind. What he thinks about himself is always there in his mind. How he rates himself. His self-worth is always there in his mind. And emotions, as either priceless or worthless or insignificant, are always hanging there. They are always within him. He feels so insignificant. Even his own wife doesn't believe in him. Even his children, she influences the children to know that our daddy cannot do this. That one is useless. That one cannot even take care of his family. If it was not mom, that one is just nothing. Now, that home is not a godly home. That home will not reflect Jesus Christ. That home will not raise up children that are balanced. It's important what you speak to your children. Let them know they have a dad, a responsible gentleman. Let them know they have, a dad that has their future in mind. Your mate's self-image is central to all he is and everything he does. What he thinks about himself is central in everything that he does and what he thinks about himself. Ladies, we need to understand this. May God touch us. May God open our understanding. We said a godly woman. We said a wise woman will build her house, but a foolish woman will tear it down with her own hands. the words that come out of the mouth, the actions, the comments, the behavior, the way you relate to him will either strengthen, encourage, and help him to become the man God created him to be, or will tear him down to nothingness, and you will miss a husband, won't you? Probably this is one reason some men change spouses. You and I do not know. But way deep down, when a gentleman realizes this wife is not meeting his need, is not building him up, instead she's tearing him down. Instead, she's always condemning him and, belittling him, does not obey him, thinks he cannot deliver. Such a man will not be comfortable building that home. Every one of us, we want to be encouraged. Every one of us, we want to be believed. We want to be trusted. We want people to have confidence in us. Every one of us, whether we are ladies or gentlemen. It will either hinder or enhance his ability to learn, to make decisions, to take risks, and to resolve conflicts with you and others. Know something about his self-esteem. It might help you to understand about his ability to resolve conflicts, about his ability to make decisions. When you expect him to have made a decision, he leaves it to you. You decide what to do. You do what you want. But you are the man. Why don't you decide? You will take care of that. He's afraid to take risks, or he takes risks. When you really think that he probably would keep this man and do it for something else, he feels confident he's going to make a deal in this business, and he goes ahead and invests in it, and it probably comes out successful. How about that man? You need to build his self-confidence. Your spouse's self-image will either restrain him or refuel him. Either he will be restrained to do what he would have done, to say what he would have said, to tell you what he would have told you, or it will just encourage him to let you know what the dreams he's toying with, to let you know what he wants to do, to let you know how about his achievement, to let you know the good comment that his boss made about him. In spite of its importance, your mate may not admit that his self-esteem affects everything he does. His behavior, his relationships, and his performance. He may not believe that all these depend on what he feels about himself. For some, it is painful even to admit that they have needs in this area. To some, depending on what they have been subjected to, it might be even so painful to let you know that they need somebody to encourage them. But truly, they really do. Somebody said, a danger for sin is a danger half avoided. If you are able to foresee a danger, you are halfway prepared to avoid it. And the scripture that confirms that is in Proverbs 22 and verse 3. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. A prudent man, a wise man, an understanding man is able to see the danger ahead and avoid it. If you are able to see that if I discourage my husband, I am the loser at the end of the day. I will not only lose as a wife, the children will lose a father. How about misbehaving and your husband brings another wife, and then now you have a competitor? Suppose you knew this and acted better. Maybe that husband of yours lost the parents at a very tender age and grew up with nobody to love them and nobody to care for them and nobody to pay their bills, and he suffered. Suppose you understood that mom and loved him with sincerity and stood with him and strengthened him and encouraged him and worked to better his future, to lift up his name. Suppose you understood that and did the right thing. Don't you think you would have a better home? Don't you think you would be the beneficiary of his love? Don't you think that he would take care of you better? Don't you think that he would trust you and confide in you and tell you his inner feelings without fear? Don't you think that your children would grow up in a balanced home with a loving dad, a caring dad, a responsible dad? Don't you think that you would have a better home? Think about it. Truly, admitting your self-image, your inadequacies to one another is the beginning step to real healing and new intimacy in your marriage. When a husband opens up to the wife, and when a wife opens up to the husband, and they get to know one another, and they are a strength to one another, and they complement one another, what a home to belong to. What an environment to live in. What a home to bring up children in. A home that glorifies God. If they open up to one another, if they strengthen one another, if they encourage one another, if they are able to bear up with one another, that makes life bearable. Be real to each other. Be transparent and open to each other, and help support each other. Encourage your spouse. Build their self-esteem, and they will perform wonderfully. Hear that, man. Build your spouse, and they will perform wonderfully. More than you expected. They will sacrifice for you more than you ever imagined. What a home to build. I would to God that every family was what God intended for it to be.